Hello, hello! I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write, where I give questionable writing advice through running metaphors. At mile 25, so close to the finish line, you may feel indestructible, capable of taking flight and flying to the finish. Alternatively, you may feel like invisible weights are attached to your legs, such that Earth's gravity is stronger for you specifically. The world feels imbued with magic to either speed you up or slow you down. Today, I want to discuss my 5 favorite types of magic systems and ideas on how to craft their methods into your works. Number 1, simple and clean. In Avatar: The Last Airbender, 4 nations were divided based on 4 natural elements: water, earth, fire, and air. This magic system is easy to comprehend and explain within the 30-second intro to every episode. The idea of nations devoted to basic elements isn't new, though I have seen a resurgence of this type of magic system thanks to Avatar's successes. Most importantly though, the magic system known as bending never overshadowed the heart of the stories or the characters using it. Also in Avatar, the bending method someone used tended to tell you a lot about that character and the culture they're a part of. In general, earthbenders were steadfast and unyielding, facing challenges head-on, oftentimes by bashing them in with their heads. Airbenders, the opposite of Earth, tended to be more agile, preferring to avoid conflict or dodge attacks, letting their opponents tire themselves out. Waterbenders would redirect attacks much like a river bending as it flows downstream, whereas firebenders would overwhelm opponents with deadly force. When developing your own story's magic, you don't need something complex. Simple can work as a basis for the magic of your world, so long as that base can support the weight of your story. I prefer easy magic systems as opposed to something which requires an additional textbook or appendices to understand. Number 2, corrupting power. I love me a magic system which directly harms its users. Do you want to immediately hook me into a story? Then have somebody cast lightning and have their skin get burned. Or have a magician be worried about shaving years of their life simply by casting a spell. In the Wheel of Time series, the powerful enemy known as the Dark One was able to taint the male half of the magic system known as the One Power, leading to all male channelers going insane. Because the magic was so strong, entire societies were built around identifying, tracking, and killing any man who could potentially wield the One Power. An easy way to capture readers' imaginations is to show the side effects of wielding such world-shattering power. When there's a cost in the form of physical scars or mental breakdowns, then the characters will be less likely to waste their skills or use them as a simple solution to whatever challenges they face. Creating adverse effects adds new layers of depth to every roadblock, giving all new tension on whether a problem can be solved, and if the magician is willing to sacrifice their body to do so. Number 3, magic is science. In Lev Grossman's The Magician series, magic is precise. The students who attend the adult version of Hogwarts learn the methods to apply their magic as though it's a fundamental and formulaic force of the universe, just like gravity. Though readers never understood all of the rules for this rigid magic system, I still found it interesting. I didn't need every facet explained to me, so long as I could predict and expect the results to be consistent on successful casts or disastrous failures when mistakes were made. Number 4, use the mundane to perform extraordinary feats. Enter Brandon Sanderson's Mistborn series. Of course, Brandon Sanderson is going to make a list of fascinating magical systems, and spoiler alert, it's not his only item on this list, and we are already at number 4. Allomancy, the magic system within his Mistborn series, involves drinking metal to fuel the magic within. Imbibing different metallic solutions granted users the abilities to push or pull objects, gain physical strength, detect other allomancers, or a wide variety of quantifiable abilities. As an example of an extraordinary feat performed, the users were able to creatively apply this magic system to push off of coins and essentially fly. Not only does Allomancy pass the coolness factor, and not only is it simple to understand with the drink metal gain magic, there were points of the story where the limits of this magic system were bent to the point of breaking. Brandon Sanderson demonstrated an incredible grasp on his invented Allomancy by finding unique and extraordinary applications of it to continually surprise readers. Characters escape situations in ways I never would have even thought of, and it showed their clear progression as Allomancers through their improvisation and increasingly grander ingenuity. When writing, strive to prevent magic from being the easy solution. To tie this back to running, every so often on a vacation run, I'll get lost, forcing me to create my own shortcut. This may lead to dangerous scenarios where I am running down the side of a mountain instead of using the winding trails. My point is to write your magic system such that readers expect the characters to use the well-worn trail. Instead, create the shortcuts most readers weren't aware of by applying the magic in an extraordinary manner. And lastly, number 5, magic is the plot. Mild spoilers ahead for Brandon Sanderson's Elantris novel. If you want to remain completely spoiler-free, here's the timestamp to skip to. Spoilers begin now. The magic of Elantris is geography-based. Carving runes to match the landscape draws power from the land. This goes beyond the magic itself to be integrated with the setting and plot, such that when the landscape drastically shifted, all existing spells fell into decay. Thus, the magic-based society collapsed. When explaining a magic system, work to integrate within the plot rather than have the plot be get better at magic. In Elantris, the magic users were performing specific tasks like protecting those they care about, while they also were making major breakthroughs in discovering how the magic of their world worked. These characters were not at a school, but were unraveling the mysteries of the world surrounding them. The fact that magic was involved made sense for their character arcs, though learning about magic was never their ultimate goal. In addition to the 5 types of magic systems which I thoroughly enjoy, I'll include an honorable mention for the first book in the Song of Ice and Fire series, Game of Thrones, due to its subtle magical influences which never overtook the plot. Game of Thrones depicted its magical elements through the crying trees known as the Weirwood, the giant wall of ice in the north, and countless others. These remnants of a bygone era wove the tapestry to build out the Game of Thrones world. In this way, though, magic felt like a part of the setting, places that characters would physically travel to rather than specific spells they learned. A sense of true magic didn't really enter A Song of Ice and Fire until the second novel or later, with the assassin who changes faces, the man who dies and keeps getting resurrected, and most importantly, fire-breathing dragons. In the media I consume, I don't enjoy reading overly complex magic systems which require lengthy explanations. For that reason, I'm going to highlight Brandon Sanderson's Stormlight Archive as a magic system which pulled me out of the story. These are my opinions and are clearly not shared by most readers. While I absolutely appreciate the magic systems established within the Stormlight Archive, I was unsatisfied with the lack of answers we got by the time I put down the series. Much like any other Brandon Sanderson novel, the magic systems are applied in creative ways and pushed to their absolute limits, but I lost interest over the course of the tome-like size of the novels. I'm about to mention some mild spoilers about the magic system within the Stormlight Archive, so if you want to remain completely spoiler-free, skip ahead to this point in 3, 2, 1. To give a brief summary, there are 10 different surges or branches of the magical system which are granted to humans by elemental beings known as Spren. The magic can be used to cast illusions, transform objects, change gravity, and a number of other abilities that have yet to be defined. Still with me? Great, because when one of the characters started delving into experimenting with the magic, she was transported to an ephemeral realm filled with a black sun and glass beads, which, if I recall correctly, she used to transform an object in the real world. That's all I care to highlight in this video about the Stormlight Archive's magic. And I didn't even explain about the 2 orders for every surge, or shards, or void binding, or any number of the wide array of rules which we know about the magic, to say nothing of the rules which we don't know yet. but you get my point. It is a lot. The novels were enjoyable journeys to be sure, but making sense of them was more effort than I was willing to give. By the time we started unraveling the mysteries established, I was tired of reading about them. Readers have a finite amount of spare time, and a 400,000 word novel with multiple magic systems to uncover may push some readers away. Again, I recognize the Stormlight Archive as a stunning piece of work built by a master craftsman working at his pinnacle. I appreciate various aspects within the stories, but ultimately gave up on the series after finishing the second novel. I liked the characters and plot enough, but continuing was too much of a time commitment. When crafting your own magic, aim for simplicity. The more you need to explain, the more likely you'll be to confuse or bore readers. Those are my 5 favorite types of magic systems, along with some additional comments. I am Ben Pick, and thank you for joining me in Running to Write. What is your favorite magic system? How do you create magic within your worlds? Do you start with the rules or with the flashy results? Do you agree with my opinions, or is everything I said wrong? Are you a fan of the Stormlight Archive and want to try and bring me back into the series? Let me know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this content, then please give it a like and subscribe to the channel. If you didn't like my content, then convince one of your enemies to like, share, and subscribe. I promise to cast a spell to distract them while you plot their demise. Join the Running to Write community on all social media to share your thoughts. See you next time. Until then, craft your own unique spells to unleash upon your written world.